Hey everyone, how are you? So, I'm just making this video with the intention to help you out in your life, and this is a tricky topic which I've experienced in my own life, and that is like there's a quotation that I put at the beginning of this video is that take for someone to receive the idea of trying to take accountability for their actions, it feels like an attack when that person is not ready to take responsibility for their behavior and the harm that it may be causing others, or the stress or the physical harm or any type of harm, the emotional upset. So basically speaking, it's like another way of phrasing this is when someone's doing something bad and somebody tells them, they feel like attacked or give out to the person who's saying that they're doing something bad. For example, let's say someone is just like breaking a fence or throwing litter everywhere, and then someone says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or like, "Would you mind not doing that?" Then the person like gives out to the person who mentioned that they're doing something bad. Okay, so this happens in relationships a lot. Okay, so like we do have a right to like certain degrees in life things. For example, we have the right to get a good sleep and not to be like interfered with or bullied or poked around it when we're trying to meet our need for rest and sleep, especially for sleep at night time, within reasonable hours. Not if we're trying to sleep on the sofa at 3 p.m. But if we're trying to we can't expect people to like go away and leave us alone if we're sleeping in the living room at 3 p.m. But if we're going to sleep at normal hours, like whatever that's agreed upon, it's a general flexible time. We have that right. Similarly, we have the right not to be in a house with 5G in it. That's like harmful. We have a right not to be punched, not to be pushed, not to be like physically abused. We have a right to certain levels of like peace and space. We also have a right to like own our property and people not to be taking our stuff or like damaging our stuff either. So in a relationship, same with our money. In a relationship, it's always very tricky, and it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but it could be just a person you're closest to or spend the most time with in life. They're the people who trigger us the most. So in the past, like I've actually got very upset and annoyed and angry at somebody like doing stuff repetitively after I've clearly spoken how much I dislike it and disapprove of things that are like distinctly not good for me without my being done to me without my choice. So like the reason why I say that is because my videos usually always try and talk about like non-judgment, like to be nice, like but sometimes you're just pissed off and you got to express yourself to defend and to stand up for yourself. But especially if it's a build up and speaking nice a few times or nicer a few times didn't work, then you feel really like perpetrated upon. At least that's how I felt in the past. Beep. So for me, it's a tricky topic, and the reason I'm making this is to help you to gain wisdom and how to approach it. Basically speaking, love is the answer, and it is always optimal. Typically, it's nearly always optimal to don't character attack somebody. Never do that. Definitely don't criticize them as a person, but to criticize their behavior or their action, that's different. It's not personal. It's separate to them. Like it's like saying to a kid or an adult, "You're a lovely person, but this behavior isn't very, very loving. You're a loving, beautiful person, but this behavior is like harmful and upsetting to the people around you. And it'd be really lovely if we could choose a different behavior. That's more positive. Like this affects this person or this kid or this adult in this way, and then we teach the person like what the effects are, etc. So it became awareness, more teach empathy. It's also important to try and like explain or teach in a way that's not like condescending, as if you or me, I'm a know-all, I know everything, or like I'm better than you, or it's tricky to try and teach in a way where it doesn't sound like the other person is wrong, because anytime you try and bring up something that's unfavorable or unwanted or disliked, it's hard for the other person who's receiving this, or even if it's us, of course, don't forget, it's hard for us to receive as if they're not saying we're wrong or we're saying that they're wrong. Yeah, obviously the behavior is wrong, but it's hard to separate taking offense personally. So that's where like more emotional maturity comes in, and a bit more clarity of the mind, and having knowledge and wisdom. So it's very tricky. But this like topic is very helpful because for me it's helped me enormously in my life to try and have more emotional peace, and much better relationships. Because at the end of the day, if some things are going crap in your life and they're not wrapped up, it leads to continuous stress and a disconnection between people in a romantic relationship or in a family, if they're family relationship, or it could be a co-worker. And then it leads to constant, regular unhappiness, sadness, and stress, and even stuff like frustration and anger and bitterness, which isn't good for us. So it's good to clear it up. So there's an optimum way of clearing it, and we don't necessarily know what that is because it's not always like pure peace, love, and light. But to start with the more gentle approach is always favourable, because sometimes people get it, like when you're respectful, kind, gentle. Like when you give them sort of like honour or respect or integral talk, where you're not acting like you're better than them or they're worse or you're a know-all. And people are much more likely to listen and not take offence if you're approached from a very sort of humble and beginners type of place. Now, I'm not talking about acting like too low. I'm not talking about acting low. I'm talking about being loving and caring and kind in your heart, gentle, respectful. I'm not talking about acting as if like you're less than them either. Definitely not that.